Hi guys, it's an awesome day having you guys all back to join us for our final and last Flutter series this month. And this time around is going to be an awesome hands-on session with Thomas. Thomas is here, who is a GDE and GDE for Flutter and both that. So Thomas is here to talk a little bit about his GetIt function as well. Then I have Yazid also here. Yazid is an awesome guy. I would like to introduce him later on. He's also here. So those of you who those of you who are really interested in Flutter desktop application, just stay in touch. Yazid is here. We are going to build a live desktop application as well. So I'll quickly bring in Thomas
Hi.
to just take a session on. Hi, Thomas. Welcome
Hi.
to GDG Accra virtually because
Yes,
due to
exactly.
the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah. The first time in Africa, even if it's just virtually, yeah. So
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You're warmly welcome. Ghana is a cool place, and I'm sure after the pandemic, I'm sure we are going to throw you an invite to come to Ghana very soon.
oh, I really hope so. Last year I planned to visit Namibia at this time,
Oh, okay.
and because of the pandemic, I couldn't do it. So my visit to Africa is overdue. So
All right,
yeah,
sure. So we'll be hoping to see you in Ghana soon.
yeah.
All right, sure. So I'm handing over the wheel to you to
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
For all that who don't know me, my name is Thomas Burkhardt. I'm an Flutter freelancer and Flutter 3D from Germany. I live in Bonn, and I often joke that I'm sort of the legacy system here because I'm one of the older members of the community and have did a lot of different stuff before I got into Flutter, and I'm quite happy now where I am that I have this awesome community. And I want to tell you today a little bit about my child, the GetIt package, which is one of the oldest packages in the Flutter uh, um, environment ecosystem, I would say. So yeah, let's go into it. Um, to give you an idea, what is GetIt? It is I will first show you a little bit. I will show you a little view on my current project that I'm working on. This is here. This is a client desktop. Actually, it's an app that here it runs on a desktop and on an app on a mobile phone. It's a graphical client for a drone detection system, and this is I show you in a moment how this thing looks internally, and this is how it looks internally. And just to give you an idea, I have here several objects that offer services. There's I have up here I have my my whole UI with different different complex main widgets. Then I have, because the map is such an important point here, it has an own controlling managing object in the business layer. Then there is a detection manager that processes the data that it gets from the backend over the RTSA service and all this stuff. Now, if we look at in such a system, automatically the question is, how do all these objects find each other? How can they access each other? And now for this there are different approaches. Yeah. So the most classical way would be inherited widgets. And to be honest, when I got into Flutter, there was only inherited widgets, and I think there was a Redux was already somewhere around, but nothing else. And inherited widget, it's okay. But what I didn't really manage at this time was to use them in a way that they will update my UI when my data changes. Yeah? So I wasn't really happy with it. So my first approach was use an inherited widget and then stuff an, oh, hi, Randall. Yeah, the inherited widget and stuff and stream and Flutter stream in it because I knew how to use streams and use a stream builder in the UI, which was okay. But on the other side, if I've already if I already I'm not using the updating mechanism of the inherited widgets, it's the question, why should I really use them? Especially because inherited widgets, as well as a provider, for example, they are both parts of the widget tree, which means they require a build context to access them. And if we look back here, I have a lot of all these services here, for example. They are far from the UI, yeah. So there's no direct connections to them, and and my managers have to access them. My managers access each other, so I need another way to do this. So there are a lot of different approaches you can choose this. And besides the requirement for the build context, what I personally, but it's really matter of taste, I don't like with provider and also inherited widgets that my UI tree gets cluttered with meta widgets that are just there to access my data. Yeah, so they are not really widgets that display something. But they make create noise in my widget tree when I read the widget tree. And this led to that almost at the beginning, I started to I wrote the ServiceLocator GetIt, which is actually a port, at least in the original version. It's a port of the ServiceLocator Splat from the .NET world, which I was really happy to use there. And the nice thing about it, it is very fast. It needs no context and it's easy to use. And in the meantime, GetIt got a little bit more than just a pure service locator, and we will dive into this a little more deeply. So, wait, I have to enable here the laser pointer. Yeah. So this would be if we have, for example, if we have some view model, yeah, and it has an update method. This would be the way we use it with an inherited widget. Yeah, view model of context update. With GetIt, I have to register my objects before. In this case, for example, if I have an app model and I register it in the setup method with an registration type, and we will see later on why this makes sense. I pass in an object of a derived type of the app model. Yeah. So, and after I have done this, I can now access in my UI it easily by SL. Actually, I very often I assign the instance of GetIt. GetIt itself is a singleton to some global variable, or nicely called ambient variables today. That doesn't sound so dirty. That I have an easy access to it. Yeah. And but you don't have to do it. Also, you can always access it over GetIt instance, or there's even a shortcut GetIt capital I instead of instance. So you don't need to do this. So in case I have it assigned to a variable, so I can go SL get. I pass in the type of the object that I have registered that I want to get, and call it the update method. And because GetIt itself is a callable class, I can avoid this this get. I can just write SL app model update. I hide this. This is a typo. This point, but it's a screenshot, so I would have to. Yeah, I should really update this, but sometimes. So I can just do SL type and then access my object. Then I have different types of registration. The very first one, the one that we just saw, is the register singleton, which registers one object that will that I can access every time. I can also register a factory if I have an object or a class where I need different multiple instances during my my app runtime. Then I can use the register factory, which would mean that every time I do an SL with the type or an get, it will create a new instance using this factory method that I have to pass in when I register. Yeah, and then the last one, which is probably not longer so important that it was in earlier times, especially in the .NET world, it was more important with Xamarin. The register lazy singleton. A lazy singleton has the advantage that it is also singleton like this, but it does not have the instance is not created at the point where you register it, which is makes sense if the constructor of a method takes some time to run, yeah, or you have some init function that does some loads a huge file from the disk or anything like this. These are all things you don't want to have them in the beginning when your app is starting up, yeah. So and a register this and a lazy singleton is then nice because you register it at startup of your app. All these registrations you are typically doing before run app directly in at the beginning. And a lazy singleton will create the instance with this factory method the first time somebody is accessing this this type and wants this object. So or if in case, for example, it's an object that might not be needed at all, yeah, depending what the user is doing, it won't instantiate it ever, yeah. So these are the three types, the three main types of registration. And I said before that is we can we have separation between the type with which we register an object in GetIt, and the same time we use when we access the objects again, yeah, and the actual instance type. And the reason for this is, with this we can, like in this example, we can easily switch out implementations between a mock object or the real application, yeah, and the whole rest of the application does not change at all. They all always request an app model, yeah, and they all get an object that with the app model interface, but the actual implementation can easily be changed. Yeah, this is it's not just something like mock. You could also imagine an app, for example, with different backends. Yeah, that you have different servers that you can connect, and depending on them, you switch the implementation for it. So this gives you a lot of flexibility. And with the mocking, you can really nice. It's very, very nice for testing, or for example, if your backend is not ready yet, you start with a backend mock, and then later on you just switch it out to the real implementation. So a lot of possibilities in this case. Then there is the some people are not comfortable with doing an upfront registration for the tests, and for them. I typically say, okay, you can use this in a pattern for testing, injection pattern, that you pass in this nowadays should be nullables, by the way. You pass in optional parameters of your objects. And then, depending if they are passed in or not, you access the registered object inside GetIt. Yeah. So that when you are writing a unit test, you can you pass in your mock objects directly, and then they are not accessed inside GetIt. But that's just a possibility. You don't have to do this. Now it gets a little bit more interesting, and this is I have to say, GetIt is all the features that GetIt got there because I came upon them that I needed them while I was working on my own apps, or that users of GetIt requested them and made a good point to say, okay, this would be really great, makes sense, and so I added at some point the possibility that I can register objects that need an asynchronous factory method, yeah, to get created. So for example, if I have there we have the same types, yeah, but the same types of registration as before. But in this case, it's important to know that when the register function is called, especially not the factory is a little bit different, but the singletons, async, and also the register lazy singleton, that they the factory function is executed immediately, but it's executed asynchronously. So the rest of our app is not aware when is this instance ready. And we have quite often this situation, especially at startup of our app, that we might load the shared preferences. We might do some call to an REST API. We might do opening a database, all async calls, yeah, that have to be done. And we can do this by registering these objects with the async functions. And then in this case, obviously, we need to use an asynchronous get function, the get async function. But, and now that's important, this is only necessary as long as we are not sure that the asynchronous factory function hasn't completed. If we know that it has completed, we can access these objects exactly the same as if they were not asynchronous objects. Then we could just use the get like before. And as often it is that we have the situation that such objects depend on each other. Yeah. So, and this is, if you do this manually, if you have multiple objects that have an asynchronous creation function and they depend on each other, and you want to make sure that your app only really starts when everything is ready, this makes your startup code pretty fast, quite messy. It doesn't look, it's not pretty in most of cases. And luckily, GetIt supports this for you, and it does it in a way that it automatically handles all the dependencies for you. Let's have this example here as an have this example. We have a config service and a database service, and they depend on each other. The app model itself depends on the database service, on the config service, and the REST API service. And how do we model this? Yeah. So let's see. We have, for example, here the config service. We register them with an asynchronous lambda in this case, which calls an asynchronous init function, returns the service afterwards. Yeah. So this is the first one. We have then the REST service. This is another way you can do it if your asynchronous if your REST service has a factory function that returns itself. You can write it quite nicely like this. Register gets registered. And this here, the database service, for example, this would use an existing asynchronous function that returns a database service object. Yeah, this is just to show you the different ways this can look like. And now you see here that the database service depends on the config service. And just by adding this depends on, makes sure that this function here is not called before this function here has completed. And the app model itself it's not an it's itself not an asynchronous object, yeah, but it depends on the others. In this case, we have a special function which is called register singleton with dependencies, and all we have to do, we pass in all the service types that or the object types it depends on, which makes sure that this object gets only created. This constructor is only called when all of them are ready here. And now to make this easier for the rest of the app, GetIt has a function called already, which returns a future that will complete when all registered asynchronous objects have completed their initialization routine. Yeah, and by this we can comfortably use this in a future builder to show a circular progress indicator as long as they are not ready, and then directly switch back to the scaffold. Yeah. So to the real app, and this makes really application startup very, very comfortable. Then we have this is one of the a little bit of the quite recently additions. I think since version 5 it was added, and many people don't know about it yet. These are scopes. The idea with scopes is that we have different independent scopes where we can you can imagine them like sort of slots where we can put objects in, and we can push and pop them, and I will explain you. The blue thing here is the scope, and we imagine we have an our service and payment manager registered here, and we have an user object. And in this case, we are at the situation that the application is the user is not logged in. This is at startup, and so we register the user object with some unknown user object which is derived from user, yeah, which allows some basic interaction with the app, but not any access to our data that we only offer registered users, yeah. Now, when the user logs in, we push a new scope and we register a new user object, but this time with a logged in user object implementation. And we pass in, we give it directly a dispose function. What should be done when if this object is removed from the from GetIt, and which will happen when we pop the scope. And from this moment here, if now any place in the app code requests a user object, it will get now this object and no longer this one. So the newly registered shadows the old one, and these are still accessible as before. And another example could be if we have if this is some shopping application, and the moment the user creates a new starts with a new shopping cart, we push a new scope with the shopping cart object in. Yeah, and the nice thing about this is now when the user from this point logs out, we can pop directly. We can say, okay, pop until to the base one, and we will be back here, and we are sure the user is logged out. Any data that was stored before in the shopping basket is no longer accessible, and we are done. And one of the most recent additions that I made is that actually these objects here, they depending if they implement a specific interface from GetIt, then they get notifications the moment that an object shadows them, or if they get responsible again in a way, yeah? Which can be pretty nice if your objects are subscribed to some database service, to some stream from a database, and you want to make sure that you switch the access level and activate it automatically again. So this is a very powerful mechanism. So yeah, what do we have else? If the synchronization, the automatically one, is not what you want, you can use all this manually. Then we have, if you really need them, I personally didn't have the need yet, but I have a lot of users that use them excessively. Although, despite that, I put a big warning in the first readmes that they should only do this if they need it, but okay, people love it. So if you need more than one instance of the same type, you can give them names that you can distinguish them by the type, by the combination of a type and a name. So this is also possible. Now, the with the mixin, yeah, what's the GetItMixin? And there was the I was quite happy with this state, honestly, because most of the time I just I put my objects, my business objects inside GetIt. They would offer either a stream or a value listenable. And in my UI, I then used a value listenable builder or a stream builder to get updated on my data. But I got several requests from my users, and they asked, "Oh, could you add a little bit more to support state management?" And I was at the first moment, I was like, oh, what do we mean with this? Because state management is such a difficult term. But okay, for me, it's the easiest explanation is really how do I synchronize what is displayed in the UI with my data in my model, and how do I update data from the UI into the model and the other way around. Yeah, so yeah, you can do this with function and streams, but maybe there's better ways for this. And I really, I'm completely honest in this things. I took some closer look at how Provider is doing this, how Flutter Hook is doing this, and took some inspiration there. Remy did some very, very groundbreaking work, but I think the GetItMixin has some nice, yeah, it makes things a little bit more straightforward at some points. So I wrote a GetItMixin, and the GetItMixin, the idea of the GetItMixin is that it allows us to observe objects that are stored inside the inside GetIt. Yeah. So to explain this a little bit, let's imagine we have here two types. One is a very simple one; it's a value notifier string. The other one is a little bit more a bigger object, which extends change notifier, which means, for example, here for the country object, yeah, I have a setter and getter, and if the data is changed, I call notify listeners on it. Then I also have another member, which is a value notifier. We have a stream property that is that it offers, and I have a future property that this object offers. Now, if I have such an object without the GetItMixin, I would need for all of them to access this to monitor or observe these objects that can change their state. I would need a lot of builders. And with the mixin, it looks a little bit different. We have here the GetItMixin is a mixin on stateless widget. And at the beginning of your build method, you use the functions that you get with GetItMixin to observe your objects. The very basic one is the get method, which actually is not an observing object method. It just is like a shortcut to the get to access an object, for example, here. Then the watch method. Watch is with watch I can observe a value notifier or any value listenable object that is stored inside GetIt. we saw before, we have a value notifier string stored. So we pass this in, and the second parameter here is which is the return value of of watch, which is string. Watch only will watch an property of objects that implement change notifier itself, and will only update this widget if this property changes, yeah, and not else. And watch X is actually, at least for me, the one that I use the most of the time. It is for observing value listenable properties inside an object. In this case, inside the model object. Yeah. So, and all these functions, they access the current value and assign them to a local variable here. And I then use these local variables to build up my widget tree. Yeah. Actually, ignore these keys. This is just because this is from test code. They are not necessary for this. So I just assign them to my local variables, and I use them in the tree. Now imagine if I would have to observe all this with builders. How many nested builders I would have to build up here, which would make the whole thing quite big and messy. And the thing is that all these watch functions, when they retrieve this value, at the same moment they register themselves to listen for changes of these objects. And on any changes of the objects, they trigger a rebuild of this build method here, which in turn leads to that the latest value is requested, is accessed, and then used in the rebuild of this. The only limitation, and that's a limitation that is it shares with Flutter hooks, is that this accessing function here, these watch functions, have always to happen in the same sequence. So you are not allowed to have any conditionals in here and change the sequence at this place. Otherwise, the principle this works under the hood gets mixed up, and it won't work anymore. And as a side note, the GetItMixin uses the same place where Flutter hooks itself inside the widget infrastructure, which means you can't use the GetItMixin and Flutter hooks at the same time. But for this case, there's another package from me which is called GetItHooks, which gives you the same functions that the Mixin does, but as hooks. So if you are already using Flutter hooks, you can just use this the GetItHooks package additionally, and you get the same comfort for this. So the same thing that we can that it solves us for the value listables and normal variables. It offers us for streams and for futures. In this case, it's the watch stream and the watch future, which always will get the latest value of the stream or the initial value that I have to pass in. And for the watch future also, it will get the moment the future completes, it will get the returned value of the future. Otherwise, it has the initial value. And again here, if I would have to do this with builders, I would have to nest a future builder with a stream builder, which would make this widget tree way more complicated to read and to understand. And now the last thing, which is actually this example is a little bit contrived and overkill, but it shows the different what's possible. There are a lot of times you want to have you want to react on some data change of a stream, of a future, or of a value listenable, not by rebuilding the widget, but to execute some function. Like, for example, in case that the name changes, I will show a dialog in this case, yeah. And normally, this would not be possible in a stateless widget. Normally, I would need to use a stateful widget where I subscribe to my event source on init dialog on init state. Sorry, on init state. I would have to register in init state, and I would have to update and change dependencies and all this stuff. And especially I have on this post when I would have to override on this post to unsubscribe from these events so that I don't get any memory leaks. And all this is done under the hood by the GetItMixin automatically for you. So with the register handler, it takes care of the registration, updating, and disposing when this widget is no longer used. So the need for stateful widgets is drastically reduced by using the Mixin. Yeah, that's already. That's that's where we are. Oh yeah, we have. When we were talking about the scopes before, there's now recently the Mixin got a new function which is called rebuild on scope changes, which makes sense because if the scope changes and suddenly a new object is responsible for the same object type, then you have to inform your UI that it has to rebuild and re-access its objects. So just by using the rebuild on scope change on one of your root widgets, you ensure that your whole system will always have the correct and the latest objects out of GetIt. Yeah, that's it. You can, here, yes, my blog is unfortunately a little bit out of date. I would have to update a lot of my articles, but there's still a lot of interesting things on it. On Twitter, you find me with this name, and in most chats under Escamateur, which is I was in some previous life. I was a magician, and Escamateur was is an old name for this, so it stuck with me. Okay, so any questions? I'm happy to answer. Yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you very much, Thomas. That's really a great session. I've learned something new, and I'm sure there are some few questions as well.
I hope so.
There are some few questions for you to ask. Alfred, if you can hear me, I think Alfred has some questions to ask as well. Alfred is also a beginner in Flutter.
Okay.
And he would like to ask some few questions. Alfred, I hope you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you, Shadrach.
All right, sure. So you can ask Thomas your question.
Okay. Thomas, thank you very much once again for the GetIt package. It really helped me when I was building a solution challenge for the Google Developer Solution Challenge this 2021.
Okay.
The one that really helped me was your state management. It made everything much simple and separated. I didn't have to be connecting the backend codes, services code with the UI logic. It made me separate everything nicely. One of the packages that really stand out was the GetIt HTTP. The usual HTTP was not allowing me to send multi-form data. So it really bothered me when I wanted to upload an image to the backend. But with the GetIt HTTP, I was able to use the form to send an image. So the question I'd like to ask is, what is your recommended way of implementing a stream in Flutter so that when I make a change, it gets updated automatically?
I'm not sure if I could follow with the last part.
Okay. The last part is I wanted to know your recommended way of implementing a stream. So if you change something changes at the back end, it gets reflected in the UI automatically.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, I have I can show this to you how I do this, and let's get on here for a moment. This is a project that is currently on GitHub, which I also use currently for my live coding sessions. And the thing about this is that it has it is connected to a backend, to a GraphQL backend, which offers a stream interface. Yeah. So what I'm doing here is that is here the startup. This sets up the streams that I need. Yeah, with the actually it's really the way you do this with the subscription with the way this the GraphQL package works, but it gives me a stream, yeah, as a result. Yeah, this is a stream query result. Yeah, and so the first thing that I do on this level, I use I assign this stream using the where function, the where operator on the stream, to filter out events that have exceptions and where there's no data, for example. And then I use the map operator to convert this query result into donation objects. Yeah, so that in the end I have here a stream list donation and no longer a stream query result. Yeah, so this is on the this is on the service layer. And now on the I have a manager object, the donation manager. And what this does is it offers it has here it offers to the UI value notifiers with lists of donation and usage. Yeah, and now at the beginning, when this object is created, I start listening to the stream below, and in the listening and in the handler function of the listen, I do, for example, I do some calculations. I sum up all the data. But the important thing is here, I on every new list that I get from the stream, I assign them to the value of the donation updates to the value notifier. So the value notifier will fire its signal to the UI. And then in the UI, I just have the wait, no presentation. I need this here. All I do here is that I have watch X, the donation manager updates, which is the value notifier, and I get the latest donations in here and can then use it to build up my data table. I hope this was not too fast.
I was able to keep up.
Wait, I passed the. Let me just give you the link. Shady, can you post this? Forward the link to the repository. This would be awesome. So you can have a closer look on it, how it works. And this is actually what an approach that I currently like to do in this way. Okay, Randall, I make it a little bit bigger for you. Okay, and just to have it back again for the yeah, here that we listen to the stream and assign it to the update. So this works. Yeah. Any more questions?
No more questions. Thank you very much, Thomas.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Oh, okay, that's cool then. Yeah, so thank you very much, Thomas, for joining us. It's been awesome. You've really taught us a lot, and I'm really proud the Google Developer Student Club communities are using this to, I mean, they are implementing this in their application development for the Solution Challenge 2021 Solution Challenge, which is aiming to the UN development goals. I'm sure, yes, I think Alfred, if I'm right, I think that's what this year's Solution Challenge is about. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I'm really,
it's really it's amazing. It's really cool that you are doing this.
Yeah, I'm really happy about this, and it's coincidence that I've brought in Thomas here too. So in case you have any issue, just connect with Thomas. Thomas is on Twitter.
Yep.
That's his Twitter handle. You connect with him. He's always open to assist. So just make sure you connect with him. Thomas is really doing awesome project in Africa as well. Thomas, you can drop your website. Let me drop it in the comment section as well. He's really doing awesome project for Africa, and I think he has a Twitter handle for the project as well. I will drop it in here.
It's the help devs at help devs.
Yeah, sure. So Thomas is really doing great with the help dev. So you can check this on Twitter. I'm posting it here. Awesome. All right. So you can check this out on Twitter as well, and then read more about it.
Yeah.
It's Thomas' own foundation. Yeah.
Actually, this application that you see here is currently my temporary solution for tracking donations and keeping track of people who need some donations, and so it's really something I built. Not just I built it to really have a tool, and at the same time I can use it to teach, and I do most of these parts in live coding. So if you want to join me there, I'm always happy. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you very much, Thomas.
Yeah.
And you can still be with us if you still want to be with us whilst we have our second session with Yazid as well.
I guess I will. I will watch it over YouTube.
All right, that's awesome. All right, thank you very much.
So
right.
I say goodbye to you.
Yeah, goodbye, Thomas.
Bye.
Awesome, guys. I hope you enjoyed the session with Thomas. We've learned a lot from him as well, and the Developer Students Club are using his stuff to do a whole lot of projects. They are building projects with his GetIt function as well. Our next talk, I'm going to invite Yazid. Hey, Yazid, are you around? Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
hello. Hi, Yazid.
How are you?
So, yeah, I'm good. So Yazid is just a 17-year-old guy who is very good with Flutter, and is a Flutter enthusiast, and is good with the desktop application in Flutter. Yazid has a whole lot of amazing stuff to share with us. He's going to build something with us live, and I'm sure you guys are going to love it. So Yazid, if you have something later to say about yourself, wow, feel free. Yeah. I've handed it over to you now.
Yeah. I'm Yazid Al-Khalaf. I'm 17 years old. I make Flutter apps. I've been using it since 0.09. So yeah, I have been using it, I believe, from 2018. I have a good experience with it. And I've built, with the desktop application, I've built an app called the Flutter Installer. It installs Flutter for you with all the software you need. So yeah, it helps you get started with Flutter without getting the command line, this stuff. So today,
can you present? Yeah, awesome. Right, it's clear now.
Yeah. So today we'll be talking about writing Flutter desktop applications, and we'll be doing an application after we finish the slides. You'll see it; it's really cool. So what we'll be using today is Flutter, obviously, because And also we'll be using our brains to like create awesome and interesting apps, or one app to be exact. One package we'll be using, it's called the Flutter River Pod. We'll not be using like very advanced state management or something like that. It's for one functionality, for the drawer functionality. You'll see it right now. Also, this is what we'll be doing. So this is a GIF to show you like the app we'll be building. So when you minimize it to tablet and mobile size, it will be, as you can see, it will be, as you can see, in a mobile size, and we'll have the drawer, which is like what we use on mobiles. But once you go to the desktop size, you'll have a sidebar, which is what you expect from like a responsive app. So yeah, as you can see, this is the app we'll be building. And now it's code time, which is the most interesting part. So we should just run one command to create the project. This is the command. It's Flutter create and then the project name. I have done it. So I'm just going to open my project in VS Code. Yes, okay, this is, yeah. I hope if you can tell me if the editor size is great. If you can see the text in the chat, just so everybody sees.
I think you can enlarge it a little. You can just increase it a little.
Yeah, like that?
A little. Also.
Okay, great. So as you can see here, this is a basic PubSpec.yaml. We'll be like cleaning it real fast. It's not mandatory, but like I like doing this. So yeah, we don't need Cupertino icons. Also, those comments aren't required. We don't need them. This one also, and also this one. So yeah, and I like to give the first version to be like that, not 1.0. So basically, we need only one dependency, as we said, which is the Flutter River Pod. Okay. This is the dependency we need. It's only one dependency. We'll be using it for the state management. Let me get the latest version. Here it is. And then we'll be running Flutter pub-get to get the packages from pub. Okay. One more thing to write. We'll be like using null safety. So let's migrate the project real fast. You write dart migrate dash apply dash changes. And this will analyze the project and also make any edits needed to make it null safe. It's only 4 edits for the basic project, the starter project, as you can see. It will take some time here. It will be like real fast, don't worry. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, applied 4 edits. So we are good now. So let's delete the test folder since we don't need it. And remove all of this, okay? We don't need it. We need only the main and the material.dart. Those are the only parts we need right now. We'll call this app. And the app will not like be all in one file. We'll be like splitting it. So it like looks like an app like you will build. So you need 2 folders, app and UI. Okay, inside UI, 2 another folders. Like don't get overwhelmed by them. We will not like have a lot of code, but it's just to make it look nice. And here we'll have widgets, okay? Inside of here we'll have also providers. Okay, this is for RiverPod. You can name it anything, but yeah, I like to name providers. Inside of app, as you can see, the app folder, not the providers, you will create a file called app.dart, okay? Here we will have a stateless widget called app. And inside of here, we'll be writing material app, okay, material app, importing Flutter /material.dart. This is our app, and we'll be importing it also in here, okay, okay. That's interesting. Now we have our own material app. I'm gonna copy the theme data, like the colors, you'll see it right here. So we have theme data. The brightness is light. The primary color, this is the color. And the hex, like the hash thing, 396AFF, this is the color. It's kind of purple. The background color will be white. Scaffold background color also will be white. And then finally, we'll have the home, which is like the entry of our app or like the main widget in our app. We'll call it main view. Now you'll see why. Main view, because it has multiple views that you can navigate through. So as you can see, we have the main view, yeah. So now just to wrap it up, we have an app, providers empty, but we have the app.dart, this file. Now we are going to UI, then views, okay? Create a new file called main view.dart. So we are now setting it up. Don't worry, that will be really cool. So yeah, here's the main view, okay? And this main view, it's a stateless widget also. We won't be needing any like stateful widgets. Here we'll have a scaffold, okay, and like a small app bar, simple one. There's nothing in it, and the body will center. This is just a placeholder for now until we write our code. Child. Okay, I misspelled center. We'll correct it now. Text. Yeah. And inside of text, let's say hello GDG Accra. I hope I write it right. Okay. Center. Yep. Now we have basic and basic app. We have to import it finally in here. Okay. So now we have the main app. Let's run it just to see it. So we have the main widget. Sorry. We have the main widget, which is called app. Okay. It's run in here via run app. And also we have the main view, which is kind of like our home view, but we'll call it main view because we'll have multiple views. We won't create them, but just like a naming convention. So this wraps multiple views in it. You'll see right now. During this app, okay, building, we forgot one thing. It's needed for us to use like Flutter Riverpod, not related to the desktop part, but you have to put it to use Riverpod. You have to wrap your app with provider scope. Okay, just import it here, Flutter Riverpod, and you're good to go now. Okay, the app should be running anytime soon. So, okay, everything is looking great. The building takes some time, so yeah, we have to wait. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, sorry, okay, I will be talking slower. DMA, thanks, I'll be using that extension. Okay, so let us see what's now happening. Okay, so we have this app. As you can see, this is the color we have. And also, now nothing happens when we minimize. So it's all desktop, full screen, whatever. It's all the same, okay? And we have this little text in here. So we'll be getting back into our VS Code. Let's see the chat if anybody like is asking something. Okay. Cool. So now we are good. We are here in the main view. Here will be our most of our work. But before getting into the UI part, we'll be doing something with the providers. We'll create a new file here. This is the only logic part. Main providers.dart. Okay. And if you use Flutter Riverpod, you know everything it's global. So yeah. So I have it here. The provider we will be using. Okay. So let's explain it right over here. Okay, we have to import obviously Flutter Riverpod because yeah, it's the library we're using. So this part, let's cut it now. So first of all, to use Riverpod, you have a class that extends state notifier with integer. There are multiple types of notifiers and stuff, but we're using this one because we have an integer type, and that's the type we're using, or that matches our use case. Anyways, in the super here, this is the initial value. You can here put a constructor, here, if you want to name value to be provided when the user creates this or the developer creates this. Anyways, we don't need it. So here's the initial value. Okay, we have here set index. This is a function we'll be using to change the index, which is the value here, the state. And to access it, we will be using this code. Okay, this is the variable. It's global, so we'll just import it in here and then use it. You'll see now how we'll be using it. So it's a state notifier provider, and you give it those two types, this type and the type of the state notifier also. And then it gives you a reference here, as you can see, provider reference. You don't need it. You can just put an underscore, but yeah. And then you return your own index provider or whatever provider. Here it is called drawer index provider. Cool. So this will handle all the logic for when we click on some page or list tile, and it will change this part over here. So now we have the main view. We'll minimize it for a bit. Okay, this is the main thing. Now you'll ask yourself, how would be like making it responsive? How will the thing be like change size and stuff? So basically, we have to create a widget in here called responsive. This is the only custom widget that we'll have in this folder. It's called responsive. Okay, this widget is really cool. We'll be creating it manually, so no copying and pasting. Just to explain it, this is like the main part that will show you how to like make the responsiveness. So we'll call it responsive. Yep. We have to import Flutter material.dart, and in here, let's like keep it a container for now. We'll be having 3 parameters to get from the like as named parameters, as you'll see them right now. So let me get them. Okay. For each size of a screen, you can add multiple screen sizes also, like if you want like a small mobile or something like that, but we'll be good with 3 of them. Okay. So we have the mobile, the tablet, and the desktop. This is nullable. That's why we have this question mark right over here. And here's the constructor. It has a key that's nullable. Mobile and desktop are required. You have to provide them. Tablet is not, because if tablet is null, we'll use the mobile size. You'll see right now here, we'll be using a layout builder. So this is until now, this is what we have. We'll be also having static methods. Those static methods will be acting like they are helpers. Okay, so if you want to check that if the current screen size is desktop or is it mobile or is it tablet, you can use them. They're basically, they get your build context. Okay, as you can see here, I got them. They get the build context, and then they check with the media query. They get the size, the width, and they check if the width is less than 768. Okay. This will tell it that it's a mobile, else it's not a mobile. And also you can check for the tablet the same way. The tablet it should be more than or equal 768, so more than this, and less than 1024, okay? So less than the desktop size. It's in between both of them. And the desktop, anything more than or equal 1024, okay? You can tweak those values to your like preference. Here we'll be having a layout builder. This is the part that will change the UI depending on the size. Okay, layout builder. Interesting. So it will give us the build context, and also it will give us box constraints. Okay, we'll call it constraints for some reason. Okay, I typed it correctly. Let me close this so the code fits in here. So in here we have to return something. So basically every time we'll be returning mobile if none of the checks we'll be doing in here will be correct. So we have 2 checks. The first check will be on GetIt from here. We'll check if the max width is more than or equal 1024. Okay, I made a typo. Okay, yeah, I flipped the 2 letters. Anyways, it will check if the max width is more than 1024, as we like specified here. It will return desktop. Okay, the desktop widget that you have to provide above in the constructor. And then we have another if statement. This statement will check if it's more than or equal 768. So you can change these values to fit like your needs. For us, it will work very great. So we'll check the tablet, and as we said, it's nullable. So sometimes it's null. As you can see, it says return type widget isn't widget. So if it's null, you'll be returning mobile. Okay. Now this widget right over here, we call this responsive. This widget will like handle all of the responsiveness of our app. So whenever the size changes, it will change. So let's get back into here. We'll not use it right over here. We'll use it after we create the other widgets, like the mobile widget and the desktop widget. I'm not gonna create like different files. It's already like a lot of files. So we'll be creating it as the private classes. Before we go ahead, let's see. Just to check if someone asks something. Thanks, Randall. I just saw your comment. Thanks. So now STL to create a stateless widget, and then we'll be calling it main view drawer. Okay, and in here we'll be telling it it's a consumer widget. You'll be asking yourself, what's a consumer widget? It's from Riverpod, and it extends a stateful widget. The only difference in the build method, you have to add something called scoped reader, and we won't be going into it because it's out of the scope of this of the responsiveness of a desktop app, or how to build a desktop app. This is like related to Flutter over Pod. So as you can see here, we have the watch, and let me get it from here. Yeah, the watch here lets us get this global variable. Okay, so if we want to create or use the value of the index, you have to do this, as you can see. So this is just the type. You don't have to put it, but I like to put it. Here's the name, and then you watch, and then the type you want to watch dot notifier. So if you have a lot of providers, you use each provider. Like if you want to use another provider called, for example, bottom navigation bar index provider, you do the same but with another variable. Anyways, this variable right here gives us this drawer index provider. Now we'll be having two widgets. Okay, one of them is a profile card, and if I go back to here, as you can see, let's stop this GIF for a minute. Okay, yeah. So as you can see here, okay, yeah, this is the GIF. That's why the quality is a bit bad, but yeah. So this is the profile card. Okay, we'll have the code like ready for it. We won't build it manually. If you want it, I'll be dropping right now the GitHub link for the repo. You'll have there all of the code, like exactly each step. So yeah, this is the profile card, and also here are the list tiles. So those are two widgets that types of widgets we'll be building inside the drawer. So let me drop for you guys the GitHub link. Okay. Shadrach, if you can post the link to the chat, it would be great. Thank you. So right now, we'll be getting back into the code and also building the what's called the drawer. So I'll be copying the profile card. You can copy it from the link I just pasted. So here's the profile card and also the browser tile. So it's full of styling. That's why it will take a lot of time, and it's not related to the responsiveness. So as you can see, it's like just regular Flutter. So let's explain it from the beginning. We have to import this one. Yep. So we have here the first widget. It's called Builder Drawer List Tile, and this is this list as you can see: home, orders, etc. So this widget returns a list tile and it has a leading icon. Okay, you provide it here. Also, it has a color. If it's checked, it will have this color, which is the purple color we have in the theme. Else, it will be null, which is just returns the default color. Then the title also it has some styling. Okay, the color is the same thing. If it's checked, it will have the same color. Else, it will be null, so to turn the same color. And it's also medium boldness, semi-bold. And on tapping it, we will be having this on tap. Okay, on tap is from here. We'll be using it now with this to change the index. When we change the index, as you can see, changing index changes this page right over here. I hope it's clear. If it's not, tell me so I go over it again. Exactly, Randall, yeah. Okay, so as you can see, the link is just posted, so you can go ahead and see, copy this if you're following ahead along. So as you can see now, we have also hover color. There's all styling stuff, okay, this in here. Trailing, if there's a trailing text, not null, we add this widget, which is basically just this 6 in a red box or red circle, sorry. Yeah, this is the first widget. We'll have multiple ones of them. That's why it's in a method. And also the build profile card. I put it here so it doesn't like clutter down. So it's just a card with some styling and the name of the person, as you can see. So it's basically a card. And we don't want really to spend time on it. So instead of this container, we'll be returning a drawer, since this is a drawer widget. Okay, and then we'll have a child that has a column. Yes. Okay, it also has some styling like padding and stuff. So here's the drawer. And let me show you something. It's really cool. So it's a tip, like if you want to use something and want the splash of material to appear, don't use a container with color. You have to use like a material widget. If you want to use something instead of container, use a material for the color, because then the splash would appear. If you use a container, it won't appear. So here's the padding. Okay, padding at all sides. There will be 10 in the here in the drawer, as you can see. Every side has 10 padding, and then the column, which contains the sized box, and then the profile card, sized box, and then all the drawer list tiles, which are 4, I believe, or 5. Yes, and then a divider that is shown here. Okay, yeah, I have to go. Okay, yes, this divider, as you can see, right over here. Now I'll show you how we will be creating this divider right over here on the right. So this happens, I'm not really sure why, but it's just the first time you had to reload in a Flutter desktop app. You have to just have to restart it, and then it will work correctly. Like if you have to reload again, it doesn't happen. Anyways, now we have all drawer. This drawer is a widget on its own, as you can see. Let me show you. It's on its own, a widget. It's not used now. But you would ask yourself, where are we using this drawer index provider that we created it in here? So if I go, let's close those widgets. They're taking a lot of space. Yes. So as you can see in here, after the profile card and the size box, we have the list tiles. In the on tap that we are running inside of there, when we tap it, we are running drawer index provider dot set index and the index we want. Okay. So for home, it's 0. For orders, it's 1. For customers, it is 2. For products, it's 3. Analytics, it's 4. So we have 5 list tiles over here in the drawer. We'll be closing the drawer now, the whole widget. Okay. Now we'll be creating another widget. It is the index stack. We are using an index stack for this functionality over here. So yes, okay. So as you can see, when I click here something, the index stack changes, we change the index, and then the index stack puts the specified index on top. So you will see it right now. So we'll be creating this index stack. I'll be copying it small, don't worry. This is it, it's very simple. Okay, we'll not be creating a home view right now, but we'll be having it like that, center text with the center with the text saying which view we are. So as you can see, home, orders, customers, products, analytics. Instead of those widgets, you would be putting like whole views, like another widget that's just like the main view, okay? So the orders will be an orders view, etc. Here, the interesting part is the index. As you can see, indexed stack. Here's the index, this is the interesting part. It's by default 0, okay? But as we can see, here is drawer index provider. When you call watch and then the type, as you can see here, this or not the type, the variable, global variable, okay? You put it in here, it gives you the state or the value you used, okay? So here we use drawer index provider. It has a type state notifier of integer. So it gives us the integer in the index, okay? By default, it's 0. Cool. Now, when we change it inside the main drawer, it changes to another value, which is triggered and also changed in here, okay? So this widget also changes and updates. So whenever we click home view, it shows this one. When we click orders view, we chose this one, customers, etc. When we click the list tile, basically it changes the index. Okay, and also it's a consumer widget. So for now we have those two widgets. Those are the main two parts. Okay, let's show it to you if I can get paint. Yeah. So basically we have the drawer right over here. This is the drawer widget, and this is the views widget, which we have in each view center with text. So the text will be in here. So basically, if it's a desktop size, this is the shape will be like that, and here will be I know my drawing skills are really great, but yeah. Here we'll have the index stack, and here's the drawer. When we are in mobile size, no, we will have the index stack over here, and here we'll have the hamburger menu. When we click it, it shows the drawer. Okay, so that's the idea we want to reach. Let me check the chat again to see if any new answers. Oh, okay. Thanks, Randall. Yeah, that's new information to me. Adding globals or riverpod things tends to need a restart. Okay. Thank you so much. So in here we will have the last two widgets for we'll be using here responsive, but to use responsive we need other two widgets. Those two widgets are the mobile and desktop widgets. So we'll be getting them from here. Okay, there are two widgets, private ones also. So let's see the mobile widget first. The mobile widget, it's just a regular stateless widget with a scaffold and an app bar. And in the title, we have a text, okay? This text says Flutter Desktop Fireside Chat Example, okay? And then we have a drawer, as we said. Okay, I deleted the paint, whatever. We have the main view drawer, which we created over here, which is now shared between the desktop and the mobile. So we don't have like to duplicate code or anything. And also in the body, we have the main view indexed stack, which is like the UI we're showing to user, depending on what he clicked. Cool. Now this is the main view mobile, but what about the desktop part? The desktop part, as you can see here, it says it returns a scaffold with a body. The body is a row because we're putting stuff beside each other. First of all, the main view drawer, which you are using here as a sidebar. Also, the vertical divider, which we showed right over here. Yes, this is the divider, as you can see, and here's the sidebar. And then for the index stack to take all of this space inside the row, we have to wrap it in an expanded widget. It takes as much space as it needs. So yeah, here's the index stack. Basically now we shouldn't be ready to go. We have one little thing to do. So let's close this widget and this widget. We're going to the main view. So just to update, we are in the lib UI views, then the main view, okay? In the main view, the main widget, the public one, okay? We're deleting the scaffold, okay? Instead of a scaffold, we'll be using our own widget that we created in the beginning. It's called responsive. And as you can see here, it shows you can use add mobile or desktop. So we have created those widgets in fact. So we're putting the mobile widget in here and also the desktop widget in here. Now we have two widgets, the main view mobile, the main view desktop, inside the responsive widget. Why would you use the responsive widget instead of getting this layout builder? It's way easier. First of all, it looks better when you use just responsive. And also, when you want to change or tweak those values, you can do it from one file. No need to go through all the app. So yeah, that's the power of widgets. And now we should be, if we have to start, just to make sure everything is correct and have to reload, yeah. As you can see, we have our very cool and interesting app. I think you can't see this well because I need to make it bigger. So yeah, 1 minute. In the indexed stack, okay, here we'll have a lot of duplication, but yeah, whatever. Style, and we have a text style. This is just so you can see which view we are on YouTube. So in the text style, we have a font size, I believe, yeah, font size. We'll give it 35. It should be good, yeah. And instead of duplicating all this, we'll have it in a variable here, final underscore t equals this thing, and then yeah, we'll just put it right over here, so it's not a lot of duplication. Yes, we should be now ready to go. So yeah, now I think it's better now. I think you can view it, and here's the home view, as you can see. Now we are on the tablet and mobile mode. So if we increase the desktop size, as you can see, in the desktop size, it becomes this cool sidebar with this vertical divider. Okay, so if you notice something, now as you can see, here's no elevation, the divider, nothing. It's the drawer is not elevated. Why? That's because we used this is mobile, is tablet, is desktop. We use the is desktop one specifically to check if it's desktop, make the elevation 0. Else it will be 16, the default value. As you can see, here's some elevation. So as you can see also, it's changing here. If I click analytics, it's also changing. Yeah, sorry. Here's the customer view. It's also changing. So whenever I click it, it's also changing everywhere. And not just that. If I click here, orders. Okay, now we are in orders in the view of the the mobile view. If I go to the desktop view, it doesn't restart the state. No, it stays because we're using main provider, and they both depend on the same widget. Let me show you. Both of them depend on the same drawer and the same index stack. Both of them depend on the same value. So they won't change by just UI change or hot reload, something like that. So now, as you can see, I want to show you something, yeah? The main view desktop, no, okay, in the drawer, exactly, yeah, here. In the drawer, if we go down to the build method, responsiveness, drawer, here elevation, as you can see, if it's a desktop, then the elevation should be 0, else 16. This is an eternal operator. So yeah, if it's this true, then return this, else return this value. So as you can see, default is 16. So basically now we have a responsive app. You can like change the size of the window. It won't like break or look weird. So if it's on a mobile, it will look like this, okay? To look great and people will use it. And if it's like on a mobile or on a desktop, for example, like if it's an admin panel, this will look also great. So basically now we are done with our like implementation part of the code. If you have any questions or any like specific parts you didn't understand, leave them in chat so we can answer them. And by the way, as I said, all the code will be here on GitHub, so you can like view it. Exactly the same one we wrote today. So yeah, if you have any questions, leave them below. Thanks, DMA. Thank you. And here's the slides if you want to like get them or something. This is the QR code to the slides. So I'll be waiting for some time until like I think there's delay between when you hear me and then the cats come. So yeah. The plugins of Flutter desktop, the Flutter plugins, they are not stable, but they are usable. Like you can use them. They are not like they are in an early stage. So they are some of them are still in the Flutter embedded desktop repository, but they are usable. You can use them. Like they have most of the functionality built implemented. I haven't used like plugins used by the community, but the plugins I used are by the Flutter team, so they work great. Thank you, DMA.
Okay, I think there is a next question. Okay, it's not a question. It's a planning to incorporate what I learned into mine. Oh, that's awesome.
Great, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, Alfred, do you have any question to ask?
Yes?
Alfred, do you have any question to ask?
Hey, hello, Shadrach.
Yeah, do you have any question to ask?
Oh, no question for now. The session was very self-explanatory and on point. Okay. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right. Okay, that's cool. I think none of us has any question to ask now, and I'm sure everyone got it. Yazid, thanks for being so awesome with
Thank you.
the event today. This is your first event, and it's already looked like you've been having sequence events as well already. I'm sure the Google Developer Students Club should reach out to you so you can have more events with them. Alfred, you can talk to your colleagues. You can reach out to him to have more events. He's good. I believed in him and he has delivered. I've seen awesome stuff. He has delivered. Yes, he's really good. And Randall has confirmed that. Yes, you are really good. So I hope you know Randall. Yazid?
Unfortunately not.
Yeah. So Randall is actually a godfather of how should I say? Flutter GDE, Flutter.gde. He's a godfather. Okay. He was
awesome.
He's actually one of the first Flutter .gde. So Randall is really a godfather in that. He's very good. You can reach out to him. He's on Twitter as well. I've asked him to join us, but
sure.
he's not been able to join us. Yeah, he's on Twitter. You can reach out to Randall. He's very good, and he's also ready to assist you as well. he has been with us throughout throughout the previous series. He has been helping us here as well. Cool. Thank
That's
you
all.
very much, Yazid. Thank
My
you very
friend.
much,
Thank
all
you for
who
having me.
joined. Yeah, sure. Thank you all who joined as well. I hope you've all enjoyed the session, and probably we'll come out with another session as well. It's been great, and it's been an awesome session. I'm really happy and to have you all join us. The video is going to be here on YouTube, so you can all have access to it. Feel free to follow GDG Accra on Twitter and also join GDG Accra's platform as well. We have more events to give you as well. And if you have any question, reach out to us on Twitter or reach out to Yazid on Twitter with his Twitter handle as well there. Or reach out to any of the speakers that join us. Thomas is also on Twitter. Randall is also on Twitter. You can reach Randall out as well. He will also be willing to assist as well. Yeah, so thank you very much, everyone. And from all of us, we would like to say bye. If there's no question, we would like to say bye and have a good night. Enjoy your day.
Yeah. Bye.